Okay, so we're going to start here at what we call the registration page. Now, when an event is created by the event host, there's going to be two unique registration pages created for each event. Now, one of those registration pages is for organizations to register, and one of them is going to be for attendees or job seekers to register. Now, when you look at a registration page on the left-hand side, you're going to see that there'll be a graphic image. Now, I am using my tutorial event today, so when you do receive the registration links, things will look a little bit different, but the idea is going to be completely the same. So the graphic image on the left is what I usually call the title page of the event. It's going to list the dates, the times, who's putting the event on, and any particulars. When you look at the middle of this page under information, this is going to be direct messaging from the event host to you as an organization. So when you do come to the registration page, just take a look there just to make sure you're not missing any important messaging from the event host. You'll see a calendar of the event on the right side. And once again, please don't look at these dates and times. This is the demo event. Now, when I look at the information section, some events that you attend will have what we call event videos. If there are any event videos posted, you will see them right below that information section. And they are YouTube videos, so you can click the play and then watch the video. Now, when you come to the registration page, what you're going to do is click in here to register for the event. And then this is going to take you to the authentication page. Now, you'll see here that it's defaulted to register as an organization. If you have never been on the platform, you are going to click in here. If you've been on the platform, you'll click in sign in because you already have credentials. Now, when I come in here to register as an organization, I'm going to be providing my email address. And then what you'll be doing is creating yourself a password. And then confirming that password. Now, once you have confirmed your password, select that I've read the terms and conditions, and then select register. Now, once you select register, this is going to walk you into what we call a setup wizard. Now, even if you've been on the platform before, you're still going to be prompted to go through the setup wizard just in case you need to make any changes to the booth content that you already have. Now, one thing I want to make clear here is if there's any point of this wizard that you do not have the information readily available, I'm going to be showing you how to add that information after the setup wizard. And the most important part is to get through the wizard so that you are successfully registered, and you will see a success box pop up at the end. Now, you'll see here under the basic, this is going to be where you can put in your organization name. Then you're also going to see that the email address populated, and then the phone number is going to be a mandatory field. So you'll be adding in your phone number, and this is so that the host of the event has your contact information in case they need to reach out to you. Now you're going to see down here, owner's first and last name. This is going to be the owner of the account. You'll press continue, and this is going to take you to step number 2, which is going to be adding the logo that will appear on your booth. Now you're going to see here that there is an image size. This is a recommended for best results, a 500 by 250 pixel image. You'll notice the shape of the box here, but there is some flexibility in your image uploads. All images do need to be JPEGs or PNGs. And then when you click in here to the change, this is going to take you to your files. And then you can find your logo that you want to use. And then you can see here that this image does not fit at all. But you're also going to notice that there is a zoom feature. So I can either zoom in or I can zoom out to make that image fit. And I can also move the image around so that it does fit the way that I want to. Now, if there's any white space, now my background of this image is white, so it's not really going to make any sense here. But if there's any white space after you zoom in or zoom out, you can come in here to the background color. You can come in and you can find a color that matches your logo. And then that's going to fill the space around the edges. I can center that a little bit more, and now you can see that there's a color that filled in around the edges. Once I press upload, you'll see here that my image is now uploaded and that white space is filled. Now, once again, the zoom feature in the background color is if your image is not a 500 by 250. Now, once your image is uploaded, just press continue. And then this is going to take you to the About Us section. Now, this is going to be a button that will be placed on your booth that your candidates can learn about your organization. Now, this is your chance to kind of sell your company to the candidates, why they would want to work there, how great the organization is. And my advice on this section is to not make it too long. The candidates will be going to a lot of different booths. They'll be reading a lot of different About Us sections. They'll be reading a lot of different job vacancies. So you want to make sure that they're really going to walk away with that really important information about your company. Now, just to save your time today, I hope you sell your organization better than I'm going to, but I'm just going to put something short in here just so we move along quickly. Now, once I go through my About Us, I'll press continue. You can also copy and paste into the HTML box. So if you wanted to pull something from your About Us section of your website or career page, you can feel free to do that as well. Now, when I press continue, this is going to take me to the next step, which is going to be adding the links that I want to appear on my booth. Now, for the demo purposes, I'm just going to go ahead and put in the Premier Virtual website, just to keep it quick here. And you'll see here that there's going to be a dedicated space for your company's website. You're also going to see that there is going to be spaces for your social media. Now, let's say, for example, that you wanted to add in your LinkedIn, but you didn't want to add in Facebook or Instagram, but you have a lot of great videos that you want to share, and you didn't want to add in Twitter. Any of those that you do not want to add, you can just skip them, leave them blank, and they will not appear on your booth. Now, when I come to the bottom of the links section, you're going to see this other area that we call the custom links. Now, this is going to be a great area for you to showcase anything that you would like about your company. Now, the way that the custom links work is you're going to notice on the left-hand side, there's a link title. And then on the right side, there's going to be a link URL. These titles, these three boxes, will be buttons placed on your booth. And when the candidate clicks on it, it'll take them to the link that you provide. Now, let's just say, for example, that you have something that you wanted to share about your culture. And you maybe want to share a YouTube video that shows what you've done in your organization as far as culture. Or maybe it's something about your benefits. And you wanted to link that maybe to your benefits page. Or maybe it's something about your diversity, and you want to link that also to your company's website. Once again, this is a great area to showcase a little bit more about your organization.
Now, Glenn, this is Terry. Glenn,
yes.
There's a question in the chat box relating to this section.
Okay.
Okay.
So should the website be our application portal? I would not use your website as the application portal. I would use that in your custom link section. I would put that down in here. So if you have an application and you want to direct them to that, then I would use that in the custom link section. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you see any more, just let me know. The pictures of everybody is covering the chat right now. So yeah, just feel free. So the next section is section 5. This is going to be adding the recruiters that are going to work with you on your booth. Now, what happens here is that we don't want, let's say, 5 different booths for the same company. We want one booth with all of your recruiters working underneath you in that booth together. So in the recruiter section, if you do have additional team members that are going to be working with you on the booth, you can come right in here and click in Add New User. And you're going to see here, you're going to be putting in their first and last name, email address, and then you're going to be selecting what we call the role. Now, each of your users will have a permission set or a role that you get to set. Now, the administrator is usually the main point of contact. They're the one that received the business registration link from the event host. They're going to be responsible for building out the booth, adding in the jobs, adding in the additional recruiters, and they have full functionality in the booth itself. Well, then you have an editor. This person here can also add and edit content on your booth, but they can only create representatives. So they have a very similar function to the administrator, but they can't create any other users except representatives. So a representative is strictly a view only. This is somebody that you do not want to make any changes to your booth. You don't want them to make any additions or add users, but they're going to have full functionality to speak with candidates in your booth and operate as a recruiter. Now you're going to see down here that we have 2 options to set your user's password. You're going to see a manually set password, and then you're also going to see if I save the changes, an email will be sent to this email address for Joe to go set up his own password. I will be honest that I prefer the manually set password, and the reason being is a lot of organizations have very high spam settings or even spam blockers. And because this comes from info@Premier Virtual, sometimes this can be blocked by your organization's security settings. So if you choose the manually set option, all you're going to do is you're just going to create a password for your user, confirm the password, and then save the change. Now you're going to see that Joe is now in as a representative under my organization, and this takes me right back to step number 5 because the system is not sure if you have more recruiters to add. Now for today's case, just to save some time, I do not, so I'm going to go ahead and press continue, which brings us to job vacancies. Now, in the beginning, we talked about if you don't have a piece of information readily available, feel free to skip over it and you can add it after the fact. The most important part is to get your organization registered. Now, when I come in here to job vacancies, I'm going to go into add new job vacancy. In a really simple process, it's going to be 2 steps and then a review. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put in the job name. The location, the available positions that you have, and then the estimated salary is going to be an optional field, but it does also leave you space here if you do choose to use it to put in things like plus tips, plus commissions, or plus sign-on bonus. We move on to step number 2, which is going to be the description. Now, the description is limited in the characters. It is 8,000 characters. And the more formatting that you do put in does actually take up character space. So in here, you're just going to be putting in a short description of the job and maybe some bullet points about the position. Now, once again, for today's case, just to keep things moving, I'm just going to make this a little bit shorter. And then once you're done, you'll press continue. Now you get to review your position, and if at any point you see that you need to make an edit, you can do so right here through the pencil on the side. Or if things look good, press complete. And then just like step number 5, it takes us right back to job vacancies because it is unsure if I have more to enter. So for today's case, I do not. So I'm going to go ahead and press continue, which takes me to the booth setup, which is going to be picking out your booth design. Now you're going to see here under the theme that we have 19 different options for you to pick from. Now we are adding more, I believe this Friday, so you may see that you actually have more coming in, but right now it's the 19 that you have to choose from. And you can go ahead and you can pick the one that you like, and you can go through and take a look. And then you also then get to pick the avatar. Now for each booth theme, there will be 3 to 5 avatar choices that you get to pick from. You can disregard the color choice. This is going to be for future booth designs. You can see that it only defaults. There is no option there. I'm going to press continue. And then this is the step where I get to review all the data that I just entered in my setup wizard. Now, one important part I want to mention is do not use the X out button down up here. You want to travel through, look, make sure everything looks good. You can make edits accordingly if you need to. You can actually test your links to make sure that they work the way you want. And then when you come down to the bottom, excuse me, you'll see your booth preview. And then this is what you want to click. Click on the continue. And then for the event that you're attending, the event does not have any categories. Some events that you attend may have categories set up, but you will not see this option because the event that you're attending does not have categories. Categories are a way to take a large amount of companies and put them into different sections. So just disregard as I get myself registered here on this step, register to event. And then this is the success box that you want to see that will say that you have successfully registered for the event. If you do not see this, there wasn't, you missed a step somewhere in the wizard and you are not registered for the event. When I close that pop-up, I'm right back to my registration page. Right below the image, I can now see I am registered for the event. And if it was event day, we could go to booth, but we're going to go over here under settings. Now, we had talked about if you did not have some of that information readily available to just get through the wizard, make sure you register. Well, down here, you'll see under settings, my organization. This is going to take you back to every step of the setup wizard so that you can go back in and let's say add more job vacancies or add more users. When I click into my organization, you're going to see 4 tabs running across the top. And if I click here into general and I click into edit, I can change my social media. I can add to my about us section, seeing I didn't do a very good job there. I can change my logo and that's it for this section. The other piece is going to be users. Well, let's say that maybe you added Joe Smith, but you want, you know, let's say Sally Smith to also join in just to have some backup. Well, you can then come in and click on add user. And then this is going to take you right into adding an additional user for your recruiters. Now, when you come in here and add anybody additional, you do not need to worry about their job title. You do not need to worry about their profile picture. The only piece that you're going to be worrying about is their role, their password, and putting in a phone number. The phone number is a required field once again, so that the host of the event can reach out if needed. Now, the phone number here is mandatory, but the address is not. One thing I'll mention is that we do not share your contact information with the candidate. So if you are entering the phone number and an email address, we leave that up to you as you're pre-qualifying your candidates to share your contact information. This is going to the event host. Now you still need to select their role, and maybe I want to make her an editor so that she can make changes in case I'm out sick that day. And then once again, I'm going to manually set her password. Save my change. And Sally already exists. I must have used that one before. All right, so now you can see Sally's in, and I can move on to the next one, which is offers. Now, once again, if you needed to add job vacancies after you've made it through the setup wizard, add new job vacancy, and then same exact process. You can come through, and then you can add in that job vacancy, the description, and then that'll be added in here. The last one is your booths, which is going to be those 3 custom links and your booth design. So if you wanted to change those, you can do so under booths. Now, if I head back over to the settings on the left-hand side, I'm next going to look at my profile. Well, you have 3 recruiters that you added to this booth, but the My Profile is going to allow them to set up themselves individually. Honestly, there's not much to do here, just a couple customizations. But if I click in here to edit profile, you'll see that I can then come in and add in my job title. I can come in and add in my professional headshot if I choose to. Now, this also does have that zoom in and zoom out capability. So if I needed to zoom out, zoom in, I could do so. And when your users come in, if the phone number is not added, then they can go ahead and add that phone number in because it will be mandatory for them to add. Save my change. And that's all that is involved in that general tab. The quick replies is a little bit more important. Quick replies are going to help you on the event day. These are going to be one touch of a button, and these messages will send to your candidates and will reduce down the amount of typing time on the day of the event. When I look at quick replies, you'll see that you'll start out with none, and you can add as many as you need to. You're also going to have the ability to add quick replies in the booth. So if you find that you're typing things over and over, you'll be able to add those quick replies right from the booth, and I'll show you that in just a few minutes. Save my change, and my message will be ready for me to use. Now I'm going to come back up here to the menu section now, and you're going to see here that you have dashboard, attendees, events, and training. Now we're doing training today, but there is a ton of resources in here for you as well. All of our training videos, whether it's a full training video or short 1.5-minute segmented training videos, everything is in here for you. You're also going to see a dashboard navigation, which is what we're doing now, and then the recruiter booth walkthrough, which is what we're going to be doing next. Now you're going to see here above training, below training is FAQs. So any questions that really relate to a company or a recruiter will sit right below those videos. Now the events and the dashboard, very similar in what their function is. Now, As you become involved in more events on the platform, the Events tab will list any event that you have ever been to. The dashboard shows you your latest 4 registered events. So they just keep them very close at your fingertips for easy access. But let's say you've been in 15 different events, you'll always be able to find them in the Events tab. You'll always be able to pull that booth data. So this is where you'll find the history of your events. Now you'll also see attendees. Now attendees is going to list any attendee that has ever visited your booth in any event. We're going to talk about event-specific lists, but this is going to be any attendee that has ever visited your booth in any event. So I'm going to go back to dashboard. It is event day, and we are ready to go into our recruiter booth. I do recommend signing in just a little bit early, just to make sure that we didn't forget any passwords, that you're able to get into your booth and don't need to change any passwords, and same thing with your recruiters. Now, when you come in here, you're going to see Manage Event and Access Booth. We're going to come back to Manage Event after the event is over, but we're ready to go into our booth, so we're going to access booth. Now, just to give you a quick walkthrough, and then I'm going to come into this booth as a job seeker. You're going to see a countdown clock on the left. This is going to count down the remaining time of the event. You're going to see right here submitted resumes. This is going to list any candidates that submitted resumes to the positions that you had available. And then we're going to move over to the middle where we see visitors and chats. Now, visitors, right now it is checked as active. This is going to show me any visitor that is currently at this very moment in my booth. The show all is going to show every candidate that has been in your booth through the duration of the event. If you got busy and you felt like, hey, maybe I missed somebody, click show all. This will give you a full list of all your attendees that have visited, and you can still message them no matter where they are in the event. Now, when I look at the chats, you're going to see my chats and show all. Now, show all, this is going to be where messages will come into your organization, and you get to go and pick up the messages that are waiting. Once you do, they will then show in my chats, because those are the chats that you're involved in. Now, right below that, you're also going to see an internal chat, and this is going to be a chat for you and your team to talk to each other. And then on the far right is going to be the message field. And once I go into this as a job seeker, you'll be able to see that interaction. So I'm going to switch over to my job seeker screen, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to go into my event. Oops, 1 second. Give me 1 second. I grabbed the wrong job seeker. Give me 1 second. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in. I've already registered, so I'm signing in as a job seeker. I'm going to go to the lobby, and I am now in the event. Now, remember we talked about the event that I have as my tutorial has categories set up. The event that you're attending does not. So when the candidate comes into this point, what they're going to start to see is logos from all the companies. Now, I usually say, imagine yourself at an in-person event and you walk in and you see logos set up on tables everywhere. That's what the job seeker is experiencing right there. If they want to visit a company, all they're going to do is click on that logo. So if I come in here, this is what it would look like. You would see company logos. Company logos. Now, right here is the booth we just created together. Now, if I click into this booth, you're going to start to see all of the information that we put in together. Now, I have my screen blown up for better viewing. Your candidates will not need to scroll as much to see the entire booth. I just have things blown up for better viewing for you all. Now, you're going to see the first button right here is the About Us. So this is going to be what you put in about your company. So your candidates can read about your organization. And once again, this is information that could be coming from your About Us section or your career page. And my advice there, don't make them too long. If I move over to job vacancies, remember we had put in a third shift baker as the job. If you're interested in looking at this position, I can click there and I can see the title of the job description. Remember, I put something in very short, so hopefully you'll put a little bit more in than I did. The amount of vacancies, the location, and then the salary if you chose to use that field. Now, after reading everything, if I'm interested in this position, sign-on bonus looks good. So I'm going to say, you know what? I want to submit my resume. Now I can come in and I can either pick a resume that I already have on my profile, or if I have a specific resume for this industry, I can upload that resume right here on the spot. I'm going to use the one I have on file, apply to the job. I've successfully applied. And now you're going to see that there is a green tag next to that position. Now, if you remember the custom links, another great area for you to showcase your organization, I had chosen to put in my culture, my benefits, and my diversity. And if you remember, I just used the Premier Virtual as a example. But if I click here on benefits, you'll see it opens up in a second window so that your candidates can view that video, they can view that website, whatever it may be. When they're done, X out, right back into their booth. Your logo goes on the booth, your website and any social media that you added is here. But at this point, the candidate has gone through all of the content that you provided for them. Now you're going to see that the candidate's chat is always to the right. Now, right at the top, I'm in this booth and it says chat with Cakes for You. When I'm ready to begin a chat with them, I'm going to click in here and I can send my message over to the recruiter. Now, hopefully by this point, the recruiter has already sent some type of initial greeting over to the candidate, but if not, the candidate can send a message over to the recruiter. Now, the candidate does not need to wait. If this recruiter is busy, they can move on, go back to the lobby, move on to another booth. But hopefully the conversation starts with the recruiter. And if I move back over to the recruiter booth, things are going to start to look a little different. In just a minute, when this refreshes, you're going to see submitted resumes. Jack the job seeker's resume will populate right down here. There it is. So there's his resume. There's the position he applied to. And I can download his resume right from here. I can also click on his name, and this will take me into his profile. I'm going to cover this in just a second, but you can get right into his profile by clicking on his name. Now, under the visitor column, the last time we were in here, there was nobody here. But now you can see I have it checked off as active, and I do have an active visitor in my booth. Now, one thing I'll say about visitors in your booth, remember that they have a lot of content that they're going through. They're reading bios, your About Us section. They're reading job descriptions. They're watching your videos that you put in your custom links. So be patient with them, as there's a lot of content on the other side that they're going through. Now, you're also going to see that I have my chats checked off, but under show all, there's the number 1. This means I have one chap that nobody from my organization has picked up yet. I'm going to click over in here. There's Jack the job seeker waiting for a response. I'm going to pick that up. And I thought that didn't save. My apologies, but my greeting did not save. But your quick replies are right up here as well. So quick reply messages. Right down here, preset messages. Thank you for visiting. Any questions? One touch of a button. My message has now sent to the candidate. No typing involved.
Excuse me,
We
Glenn,
have
it's
another
Terry
chat.
again.
This is Alan.
There's another message in the chat
Yeah,
about
there's
an
another
online
chat.
application.
Okay. So in our organization, in order to be considered an applicant, a person must complete an online application. Can the submit resume option be optional for the employer? Submission of a resume doesn't make someone an applicant. So what it does, once again, I would probably put that back into those custom links. When you're talking to a candidate, remember, this is in a virtual world here. So the submitted resumes is really a conversation starter. So it's basically getting them to start that conversation. They didn't necessarily apply, but they applied their interest into your job vacancy that you had. When you're talking to this candidate, I would really start to say, hey, we love that you're interested. This third shift, Baker is a great opportunity. It offers the sign-on bonus. Can you do me a favor? Can you go click on the application on our booth? You'll see it, on our booth, and have them go through that application process right there. This cannot be changed. It is hard-coded into the system. So Tony, I hope that answered that question. So you're saying that the applied can be an issue. So unfortunately right now, that's the wording that is there. I know that we have talked about that as resume submission complete, but you can, in conversation, because honestly, you should be talking to every candidate that comes into your booth. So in that conversation with Jack the job seeker, hey, we have one more step. You submitted your resume, which is great, but can you just go back in and hit the application button on the custom link and just submit your application through that process? Now, the other option that you have is right in here in your quick reply messages. Come in here. Put your link for your application, and then it's in your preset messages, and you can send it to them, and they can click the hyperlink right from here. All right, so one more thing up here in the top corner, we see that we can add those quick reply messages. If you're looking to do a video chat with any of your visitors, one thing that I would recommend is please ask them first. Come in here to your new messages. Add, are you willing to do a video chat? And then definitely ask them first. Remember, they could be talking to another recruiter. They could maybe not be prepared because they're typing away. They could be watching your videos, and you want to gain their permission first because you may end up getting a denial. Now, once they say yes, this won't work because I'm on Zoom, but each recruiter in your organization does have the ability to have one-on-one video chats. If you click here on the video icon, this is going to open up the video chat box on my side, and then the candidate, oops, one second, wrong one. The candidate is going to be getting an incoming video call. Now that candidate can either accept it or deny it, but because you asked, they're ready, most likely they're going to hit the accept. When they hit the accept, they also do have to accept the camera and microphone usage. It's just a permission. And then once they do, you'll be connected face to face. Okay. I'm going to just reject that because it does create a horrible echo when I'm on Zoom, so it doesn't quite work. But you can see that that's been rejected. But if that conversation did happen, as soon as it was over, the chat box would go away and you're right back into your booth. Now, when you're done with the candidate, if you come back up to this little person, it's going to take you to the same place if you clicked on Jack's name over here, but maybe you have Mary that came in who didn't submit a resume, but you want to view her profile. Click on the candidate's name, click on the little person, and this takes you into their profile. Now here you get to learn a little bit more about your candidate. You can see their name, contact information, phone number, the bio if they chose to enter it, email address, the answers to any questions that were asked of them at the registration process. I'm going to come back to the attendee status in a second, but you can click over and view their resumes. If they did take advantage of the video resume, and I'll be honest with you, most of them don't, but the video resume is 4 generic questions that are asked of the candidate, and if they get to record their responses. If they did take advantage of that, then you can view that recording right from here. Now, one other piece of information that they do in their setup is they pick their experience. What is my past or present experience? Where have I been? What have I done? So as you're talking to this candidate, you can kind of see the different levels of experience they had and what they selected. And there is a wide list for them to pick from. Now, the other piece here I wanted to show you in the general is the attendee status, attendee ranking, and the notes. This is not mandatory for you, but it definitely helps for your follow-up. Now, attendee status, this will be seen by a candidate if you choose to use it. Now, interview scheduled and hired, it's kind of a mutual agreement you already have. Interested, you may want to let the candidate know that you're interested, or let them know that, hey, we had a great conversation, but follow-up is needed. Well, let's say that we had a great conversation with this candidate, interview scheduled. Now, attendee ranking and notes is for your internal use only. The only people that will be able to see that is you and your team. So us here at Premier Virtual can't see it, the host of the event can't see it, and most importantly, the candidate cannot see it. If you choose not to use it, that's fine as well. But if you wanted to rank the candidate, you can, and then you can put in your note. Now, the note will show up in your reporting once you export it out. Save the change, and that will show up in your reports. Now, one question I get asked a lot too is when we're working with multiple recruiters, how do we manage who's reaching out to who? 2 ways that work really well. One, you're working with 2 recruiters, simply divide the alphabet in half. I'm going to take anybody that has a first initial A through M. My counterpart's going to take anybody N to Z. Then you have a clear understanding of who's reaching out to who. The other way that that works well is if you're working with multiple recruiters is assign one person to work the visitor column. Their goal is to talk to every candidate that comes in. Give them that nice welcoming greeting. Do you have any questions? Maybe they're taking a quick look in their profile to see if they have the experience or checking their resume. Maybe they have a couple pre-qualifying questions built in. If the candidate is a great fit and you want to pass that on to a hiring manager, pop right in here to your internal chat. This is your team chat. Okay. So I'm sending to my recruiter, Jim. Jack is qualified and is waiting to speak with you. Jim then comes in, and if he is on my chats, click show all. This is going to list everybody that is having a conversation in my organization. Find Jack's name, pick up that conversation from recruiter number one. One last thing we have to look at, and then we're done. Thank you so much for your patience. When you're done, go back to your dashboard. The event is over, come back to your dashboard. We had originally looked at access booth. Well, now that the event is over, we're going to go into manage event. Now, manage event is going to show you under details all of your booth activity. How many attendees visited? How many are active? How many resume submissions, total chats and messages. And then if you disposition, you'll see interview scheduled and hired on your detail page. Now we talked about attendee list over here being kind of global for every event you've ever been to. The attendee list here is event specific. This is going to list every attendee that came into your booth. And if I want to see his profile again, I can slide over to the right, click on the arrow, and I can come back into his profile. Well, maybe we had the interview and we made a hire, and I want to add into my notes So we made a hire starting with Mary November 1st in Pompano, save my change, and that will be in my exported reports. Now, speaking of reports, which is the last thing we cover, you have 3 reports available to you after the event is over. Your visitor report, your chat logs, and your resumes. Your visitor report is going to be where you're going to select and generate. This is going to list all of your reporting for every visitor that came in. It's essentially your sign-in sheet. This will download, and then you can download your Excel file. You have your chat logs. This will list every chat you had with every individual. And then your resumes is going to send you a zip file with all of the hard copy PDF resumes for every candidate. Once that is done, you can click on the download here, and that will download that Excel file so that you can open and view. All right, it is a long training. I appreciate everybody's patience. I do have something else in the chat. Yep. Can you show us again how to add the diversity and culture? Absolutely. Right down here under settings, under my organization, this is where you can go ahead and add anything that you need to after you've gone through the setup wizard. Now you'll see your general, your users, your offers. Under booths, this is your booth customizations. So think custom links right in here. You have your booth customization links and your URL. If you are in the setup wizard, it's going to be step number 4. But if you've already gone through the wizard, my organization, go to booths, and there they are. Right? Any other questions out there? Anything I can help with or show again? Going easy on me today.
Glenn, this is Terry again. I just wanted to let the employers know that for our November and December virtual job fairs, they can go to our website now and sign up for them too, as well.
That's as soon as I put them there today. I just got the links this morning.
Okay,
When we're done this call, I'll put them there.
thank you.
All right, well, listen, I'm going to stay on just as people exit out, just in case there's any last minute questions, but thank you all for coming. Thanks for taking part in this training. I know it was a little lengthy, but I wanted to make sure we covered every aspect for you. Hopefully this made it a little bit easier for you, and I'll kick it back to, Alan or Terry or Belinda, if there's any other announcements that you have. Other than that, from our side, good luck finding those great candidates and have an awesome event.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
Glenn. We're good to go.